Wow, it is sunny out and maybe a little bit windy. Hopefully, the weather is improving in your area like it is today, finally. But I feel like I'm so behind. My inventory numbers are really low. Hitting 3,000 listings seems like light years away from me at this point. So I'm going to utilize today, even as nice as it is, to hit multiple stores, go shopping. I'm taking you along for the ride. We just have a lot to do. So I'm really hoping that, and especially since it hasn't been that great out in the streets lately, that I'm able to accumulate a good number of items to resell because my inventory numbers are dropping. And usually when that happens, sales drop as well. And I need to keep those numbers up. So you're coming with me, get in the car, let's go shopping. All right, quick weather check. It is beautiful today, mid 80s, lots of sun. Yesterday it went from 47 all the way to 77 on the same day. It was that chilly in the morning. Columbus, Ohio, Ohio in general, it's the weather we get. But today is beautiful, so it's a great day to get out, go source. I'm going to go to a couple stores that are just in my rotation, if you will, and hopefully we'll get lucky. I have had no luck this past week when I was outsourcing. A lot of times it's just it just kind of depends on a lot of things, but I feel like every single store looks like this, where the shelves are a little bit bare right now. That might be a summer thing, and I don't have a good enough of a memory to remember if that's how it is in years past. So I'm a little bit slower on inventory, and I really need to get caught up. So in this store, I went over to the glass case, and I noticed some. I think this is Holland mold, a nativity set. This would have been great, but I did not love the comps. I didn't love the sold comps that I saw. So it has a little bit of a glaze. There's a certain Holland mold style that has like a brown and cream glaze to it. Some of the pieces were $5. Some of them were 2, but when I ran the numbers and looked at the solds, I just wasn't sold. So I'm going to leave all of those pieces behind. I did have them in my cart, but I'm passing on that. The bigger point is I'm looking at art, sculptures, ceramics, plates. One of the things I really appreciated seeing in this store was the amount of games and the game consoles. Now they have this at $50, and you know what? Maybe I could have negotiated a better price, or maybe it's still worth it. I think that is an original Xbox, and then that's like a PS5. I didn't look that up. It's a PlayStation 5 virtual headset of some sort. I didn't look that up. Maybe I should have. Sometimes I go a little bit too quick because I'm trying to get in and out of these stores in like 30 to 45 minutes. In most cases, it doesn't always work out like that. But there's a lot of new things in here for me to see because it's been probably a week since I've been in here. But they've got lots of video game controllers at $9. I mean, maybe you could sell those for 20. They don't have any cords. They look like they work wireless. So just left all of that, but good on the store for at least putting some video game items back in there instead of sending it all to Shop Goodwill. As a shopper, I appreciate that. I get it. $50 seems like it might be high for a thrift store, especially when they paid $0 for any of this inventory, but I will take what I can get. What I think is happening in this location is they're having a theft problem, because if you saw when I walked in, a lot of the shelves were like that. They were bare. All of these items right here could have been on the shelves, but they're putting them back. This is almost like the behind the counter area. So I think in this area, they're struggling with theft. Every store struggles with it. This though is a telltale sign to me. So I looked at all of these sprays and potions and whatever this is. I kept the raspberry sugar. That looks like a pretty good one to keep. They range in price from $4.99 all the way up to, I think, $8.99. And then some of the ones that aren't full like this, maybe they were in like the mid range, like the $4 to $5 range. Some of the ones that were totally full, $7, $8. They had this marked up at 20. Elizabeth Arden. When I ran the comps were around $25, $30 brand new. So that I couldn't use. A lot of flavors that I haven't seen. Raspberry jam donut. I looked up this perfume. Nothing doing there. No value. And that couldn't have been sold anyways because it was very, very used. Bright lemon snowdrop. This was all really interesting. And you see here like bonfire bash. This was a cool one. I think I may have been able to sell that one for like $15 to $20, but it's $6-7. I'm really not going to take my chances on it. Santa's blueberry shortbread. Like these are all kind of awesome. Like they do a phenomenal job, Bath and Body Works, in their marketing of all of these smells and flavors. But the only one that I was satisfied with was the raspberry one. So I'm going to keep that. I loved the marshmallow pumpkin latte. That's actually the second time I've seen that. I've seen it before. Left that behind at $5. I'm going to only take the one, and I'm very satisfied with just that one. Raspberry sugar, this is a good one. Look for it. Put it on your BOLO list. I can't remember what was it like. It was between $5 and $7. So lots of plastics, lots of. I mean, you can see too. Everything is sort of pretty evenly distributed, but just not a ton of things to look at. I'm gonna take a chance on the Disney Mickey Mouse waffle maker. The model is MIC-64. There were a couple of sold comparables that were in the $75 to $85 range, brand new. I think if I just touch that up a little bit, you see me leaving it, but I do end up grabbing it. We're going to take a look at what it looks like on the inside just to make sure it's clean. But if I just touch it up just a little bit, I might put that up for $50. I do my comps originally on my cell phone. And then when I get home, I do a little bit of a deeper dive on the desktop. And so while I only put in the model number when I was running the comps in the store, I will back out of doing that and use some more broad keywords just to see if some of that specific waffle maker will show up where it did not show up on my phone. And so that's where I do my deeper dive just to make sure my price is going to be correct and as accurate as I can be. So it looks pretty clean, right? Flip it over onto the other side. All good. It's Disney branded. It's not like a collab with, say Cuisinart or something like that. At least not that I could see at first glance. So pretty cool though. Both sides, I'll take it. Let's say 50 on that. I'm gonna check out some of their carts. This was, it's hard to see the price on the red sticker. A Georgia boot that was marked $20. I'm at the point in the store now where I'm not gonna throw that into my cart at 20 bucks. Maybe if I'm sort of desperate at the end and I feel like I just am walking out with nothing, I might pay that price, but I'm gonna leave those there for now. And the rest of the shoes, I think, were brands that I really couldn't resell for a satisfactory enough price or profit. So I left that behind. But I'm checking all of the decoratives, as many as I can, using Google Lens where I can, because it's one of those things that I'm trying to get a little better at. And you've heard me say that before. And it seems to be working very slowly. My growth this year, I feel like I'm stuck. I'm doing almost the exact same numbers as I did last year. And outside of YouTube hours, I feel like, I'm sort of stuck. I don't know how else to grow, because I do tend to get gun shy in store. And there are times during the month where I feel like I'm cash thin, so I won't buy as much. And I want you to know that, because those of us with channels and large followings, I struggle with these same things that you probably struggle with. You know what I mean? Like the beginning of the month, bills have to be paid. The end of the month, I feel like, in the middle of the month, I'm a little bit more liberal with my spending. But so I'm trying to grow, and I know what I need to do to grow is probably buy more when I'm in these stores. But I'm just not doing it. So I'm kind of stuck. That's what I feel like. I'm stuck right now. And my numbers are great. I'm only satisfied with them in the fact that I'm not regressing, but I'm certainly not growing. So something's got to change at some point here. And we're almost at the midpoint of the year. All right, what else do we have on the bottom here? Nothing doing over there. 2 art pieces that I'm going to take a chance on. $13 on this one, $13 on the other one. These pieces are very, very heavy. You can see it says $13 each. Jaru, have you ever seen that before? When I ran sold comparables, couldn't really find anything. So price-wise, I'm not exactly sure where these are going to land, but when I looked at them and I looked at some of I can't even call them comparables because there really aren't any. I feel like these could both be listed at least $200. So I'm looking at not knowing anything else and not having gone back to my desktop to verify any of the prices that I'm giving you right now. It's looking like between $200 to $300 is what I will end up listing both of these pieces. They're like cubicle. I don't know what type of art you call this. There's terms like modernist, mid-century modern. I know those terms on a very broad, generally speaking terms, but I don't have it nailed down yet. So that style, is it contemporary? Those are the types of things I'm still trying to become more comfortable with. And I feel like the only way to do it in the category of art, something that I will take a chance on. You remember that thing was in the other store. That thing was in Sawmill. That same horse. The only way to learn is by doing and by making the purchase. So at 13 bucks, I'm going to pick them up, even though I just got done saying, sometimes at the beginning of the end of the month, I'm a little bit gun shy with my pricing. But when it comes to art, I'm probably going to take more of a chance than I would in some of the other categories. Okay, we're good in that store. So we're going to head into another little bit of a smaller location. I like these smaller stores. The ones that I are in my regular rotation, even though they're small, they seem to really get a good amount of new inventory in and out. It's weird because right now, like as of the time of this recording, the larger stores, the stores that normally produce, I would have to guess and say higher volume, are so slow to get things on the floor. And when you do this route every single day, sort of rely on some of the new stuff that comes in and out, at least more so than you would if you're only stopping in, every week or so. So I like these stores. And then here you go as a great example. Like they have what looks like a brand new rack out. And I've got it looks like a woman's Burberry Golf V-neck shirt. This is great. It's got a little bit of a stain on it, but I think that's just surface wear, so I'll wash it. And yeah, what a great find right off one of those racks. So another thing that I appreciate is the smaller stores, like, doing the things when the donations come through, get them on the floor. I really appreciate that. So between seeing a bunch of new racks in this smaller store and the video games in the other one, I'm going to come back to these locations. And I encourage you, especially if you're in the Columbus area and you follow me, hit these stores up. This one is Main Street. The other one that I was just at is Renner Road. For you local people, pop in and frequent them, because I saw some things that were encouraging, even though some of the shelves looked a little bit thin. The carts were coming out, got new racks here. We got video games on the shelves. Those are great signs for us resellers. All right, I went over to the electronics. It's probably been over a year since I have found a Guitar Hero guitar, and these are still going for around $30 to $50 average, some more, some less. You can see it was missing the battery backing. Anytime you see that, and that was $8, $7.99 price, still buy it. They will still sell, and you might even still be able to get full price. These are in such high demand still, and the inventory seems like it is just dwindling and dwindling. So that one, $8. They're easy to ship because you can break them down into two pieces. So I'm looking at, even with the missing battery back, I think I can still get between $30 to $40 for it. So I'll make sure that it works properly, get it tested, and great to see that as well. So a lot of really nice things going on in these slower to smaller locations. I took a quick look at this Fitbit Smart Scale. It's like Wi-Fi operated. They had $20 on that. It was probably too much. But then right next to it was something that was probably misplaced. This is a Henry Bendel, like a trinket box, a jewelry box, marked $3.99. Has sort of the signature brown stripes on the side. A little bit smaller than some of the sold comparables that I had seen. I did go into Terapeak and I saw that this exact one sold, I can't remember how long ago it was, for $50. So I might list it around there, 50, 60, 65, and they sell pretty well. Usually when I'm outsourcing, I'll see every now and then, or like on a markup cart or behind the counters, a Henry Bendel bag. Bag prices vary, some of them high, some of them low, which I guess is surprising to me because I've always looked at that as more higher end than it was a regular price brand. So the trinket box, $50. That's more than likely where I will list it. So for $4, it's a pretty good deal. Looking at backpacks a little bit closer now because I know we are just into summer, but back to school will show up before you know it. I thought this little one was cute, but when I looked inside, it had just too much cat hair. I'm not going to bother cleaning that. So I didn't run the comps on it. Moved over to shoes. Pair of Ons, but these have all kinds of issues. There's no insoles, there's a heel rub, and then I think there's just too much wear on the bottoms. Those soles are a little bit more durable than the Ons that I'm used to seeing, and so maybe they've caught on a little bit. I really struggle selling Ons at even decent prices, so I look pretty close. If you're having different luck, if you sell them like hotcakes, let me know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But those soles to me are just not reliable. I think it's sort of, I'm going to say fraudulent maybe as a running shoe. But if they continue to upgrade the quality of the midsole and the sole in general, like I think that one was, that's a pretty good sign. So we're going to leave them behind because they got too much wear. Looking for baseball bats, softball bats in particular. This Amp one, I wasn't convinced it just looked a little bit too dirty for me. Worth, Amp, and then there were a couple of, I think these were Adidas bats, which I'd never seen before, but these almost look like Little League bats, so very small, leaving them behind. If you notice the pattern here in Columbus, the sporting goods sections are really small. Now this store actually has more sporting goods than the store that we are going into next, but it's so strange to me that maybe this area struggles selling sporting goods related items. Like I saw very few golf clubs in here. That doesn't mean that they're not getting them. Maybe I just showed up at a time where all the good ones were already taken already. This looks like a Rugrats toy. But yeah, I'm surprised that the sporting goods area in these stores is not bigger than it is. So lots of toys to look at, but you do have some helmets here, which I think most stores have a spot for. I just expected to see a little bit more. It is what it is. The guitar there that I did not look at, didn't have any strings, so passed on that. I don't really see anything that makes sense. This is an old Columbus Clippers, Corey Kluber, who pitched for the Cleveland Indians. I think now he is on the Cleveland Guardians staff as an assistant of some sort. That bobblehead was worth maybe $20 to $25. Mark 7, I'm going to leave it behind. I have never seen a pair of Doc Martens this color before. This peach, salmon, coral. They have it marked $8. Good price. Looks like a women's size 6. The model number was 30713. Yep. And I will probably try to touch up the fronts just a little bit, but the soles were in great condition. Doesn't look like there are any issues with the strings. And what an interesting color. As for pricing, I'll be honest, Doc Martens sell slow for me. You know, whether they're new, whether they're pre-owned, whether the condition is more worn, whether it's in better condition, they take, I wouldn't want to say they take forever. But it's definitely a slow seller for me, and I don't know why that is. I don't necessarily always price them on the high end. So for these at $8, I may just price them at around $30 to $35 just to get a little bit more action, but they will definitely sell. Strange, but very interesting and kind of cool color. Some comparables, but you know, I think at $30 to $35, I'll get enough visibility and move them at that price. So didn't see anything else up here. They have these Crocs. I'm definitely looking for more Crocs, obviously, as we move into summer, but at $8, I don't think those are going to be worth it for me. They can definitely be shipped at around $5 because they're light, but I've already got a pair or two of those, so I'm going to leave those behind. This is a very clean pair of Toms. Again, $6. They're not new. I'm probably going to leave those behind. Didn't see anything else in the shoe area, so I moved over to the regular shelves, the hard goods, and you'll probably notice, you know, a little bit of a trend. Not a ton on the shelves, but again, they were still doing a good job getting some new things out in the time I was there, so that's okay. Sometimes you go and it's hit or miss, but right now with the items I have some pretty good brands with the Wii and Doc Martens and Burberry. We're doing pretty good in a smaller location. So this cart was just rolled out, but I didn't think I saw anything that I could work with. That looks like a generic portable blender. Nothing doing here. Hallmark mug mates. Some pictures down there. Not a whole lot to work with. This, I forget what brand it is, so I'll grab it in a second. That might have been something like a vintage ice maker, but Apco or Adapco, something like that. Not for me. Let's leave that. Television or a monitor, not worth my time. And then I'm going to check again some of the breakables. This was a set of 3 actually. This White Barn Candle Company. I don't even know what these are. Like, what are they? Just two decorative pieces. I don't even know what you put in there. And there was a larger one up at the top that you can't see. So there were 3 pieces altogether. Could have been something, but I'm leaving them behind. Nothing else on these shelves that really looks like it's worth checking. There's a Rooster canister up at the top that I thought was interesting, but it was generic. Yes. So not much else in the way of that store. All right. We're going to go into our third and final store, but we're doing great on a really nice day. So far, so good. This location sells a boatload of books. So when I walked in, I saw 3 or 4 book scanners in there. Work in the book bins. I'm going to head back to the carts. It's middle of the day, and this store is probably totally ransacked at that point. So we're going to look for something. There's a very good example of somebody that's got a stacked cart. I'm going to check the carts, and I got really lucky because none of these carts are really ever uncontested, but this was just sitting here. It is a Jonathan Adler, and it says gluten. Let me tell you something. Some of these canisters can go for crazy money. Same sort of art style, but different colors, different sayings. As far as this gluten one, the most recent sold comparable that I could find was 125. So I'll just match that, not knowing anything else. But thank goodness, because it's been a real struggle in this particular location. What a great find. I should have asked if they had any more of those matching canisters in the back. Maybe they had a set or just a few like colors. But crazy money on those. If you have never seen that before, put that on your list as well. This is insane. Seeing Legos come out. This is another fantastic thing. $2.99. I'm not going to bother with pieces and parts. That just takes way too long to sort. So if it was new, it would be a different story. But Lego, sorting Lego, those days are gone for me unless it's like the Haunted Mansion or something crazy. But the rest of these carts, they're pretty heavily picked over, except of course for the precious moments. I bet you someone's going to walk into this store and buy every single one of those. To this day, these things still sell. They got to be like a dream for a thrift store. In fact, I remember about a year ago, an entire Gaylord of precious moments came into this location, and I kid you not, I think one woman bought half of them, like right off the top. Super popular, still collectible. That blows my mind. Everything's collectible, right? Anything's collectible to this day. So basketball shoes, and we'll leave those behind. Don't really see anything else. I don't know how that canister was sitting there and it was just passed over by everybody. Maybe because gluten is kind of weird, but there is a set of those. It says gluten and gluten-free. There was a sold comparable for both of them for $475. So $500 if I would have had both. It's crazy. Maybe the thing is worth more than $125. I don't know. It's the only comp that I saw. I'm going to look at the rest of these little trinkets. The Cardinal, the Ohio State bird. Nothing doing there. Moved over to shoes. I like this pair of Under Armour. I do not buy tons of Under Armour anything, especially their shoes, but these is HOVR, and they were Sonics. That blue color, for whatever reason, looks like it's good for about $35 to $40, so I'll wipe the midsole down really quickly. Those will photograph really nicely on my back deck, and I'll probably put them up for $35. So I've got a good pair of shoes here, and then I saw a pair of Allen Edmonds that I've never seen before. It's Jack Nicklaus, Allen Edmonds collaboration. These still have the tags on them. They're brand new. They just don't sell that well. So I left them behind, even in brand new condition. I'm not going to mess with it. They look like they were like maybe a men's 8 or a men's 9. Pretty cool to see, but a very different type of style. Looks like they were sold at Nordstrom Rack, marked down. I left these behind too. These are going to sell. They're a men's 8.5. I'm looking for something that's just a little bit bigger. 8.5 for me in men sits forever. So would they sell? Yes, but I'm looking for stuff that maybe I can move a little bit quicker at $6. And it's a great style shoe. Like I've sold it before, like I said, but 8.5 too small for me for this specific trip. Monopoly Golf, brand new in the box. I can't believe this doesn't sell for more than, there was one listed for $18, $19 sealed. So at $8, it's a no for me. But dang, don't you hate? This is the type of thing I'm like, oh my God, Monopoly Golf, it's sealed. It's got to be worth $100. And it's not even worth $20. So frustrating. DoorDash game, never seen this. Super yum, no value on that. We're going to pass that up at $5. Looked it up after the fact, no good, but a couple of cool sealed board games. The toy section looked a little bit more full. And with the run that Littlest Pet Shops is having right now, especially some of those old vintage ones that are worth like $100, $200 plus, I'm definitely going to dig a little bit more and look in the toy boxes, try to get to the bottom of them, see if anything slipped down there, because that does happen. If you're out, if this is garage sale season for you and you're out there, ask every single person, do you have Littlest Pet Shops? And I know you guys know this. You go into a garage sale and there's always one dude that's like, do you have any vinyl records? Do you have any video games? Be the person that asks for the pet shops. I bet you some of you are going to make money. Little figurine right there. Nothing doing, no pet shops in there. I did just recently sell one pre-owned for $90. So I know this to be true. So make sure you're asking. Away We Go Airlines. I've never seen that before. I looked old. This looked like a bunch of, what is this? Just play food, play stuff. Probably not going to dig through that. Don't see anything else here that looks like it will work. So I did go over and glance at the books. I think somebody left this behind, the Saab manual. It looks brand new. And it's only going to cost 99 cents. You know what? I'm going to pick it up. I think I can list it for 30. A lot of the listings that I saw that were active are from Canada. And I did see a sold for 30. So I'm just going to throw that up for 30, charge $5 to have it shipped. And we'll take a chance at it. At a buck, to me, it's worth the risk. Maybe somebody comes in with an offer of $20, $25. I'll move it at that price, only having paid a buck. But the books are very heavily picked over. You'll see somebody was really digging in the one that is next to this, and they have it sorted where like they have built like a fortress around the middle and just dug in the middle. It's kind of fun. But I don't see anything else here that like I would recognize or that seemed unique enough. See how they built this little wall around that? I know you booksellers, you're like, yep, that was me. But yeah, I don't see anything else in here. But great score on that last Jonathan Adler piece, huh? All right, that is going to be it for this trip. I don't have anything else for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.